I'm Melissa Ridgen. Welcome to the World Indigenous Nations Games. Chances are, if you're Indigenous from any part of the world, you've endured some sort of trauma. One Hopi man from Arizona is helping youth deal with theirs in a healthy way. Willow Fiddler has that story.
There's no such thing. Why?
That's not what you might expect to hear from someone promoting healthy living.
Because we live it, right? We live this lifestyle.
Growing up on the Hopi reservation, Waylon Pahona experienced some serious trauma in his life.
I was sexually abused at a young age, seen my father accidentally kill a child to revive my mother when she tried to take her life.
Today he is on the Samson Cree Nation delivering his message of hope to Indigenous youth at the World Indigenous Nations Games.
I think the message that I give to our youth is to understand that we are going to go through the struggles, that the struggles actually make us who we are.
Diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder, he encourages Indigenous people to talk about their experience. And for his Facebook group, Healthy Active Natives, more than 67,000 Indigenous people are doing just that.
Because people more and more are sharing and expressing what they've been through in their lives. You know, I use myself to share and express what I've been through, and then from then, other people, you know, I was in a domestic violence relationship, I was sexually abused, or I'd gone through alcoholism. All of those different issues have came out in the group, and it's made people more healthy. It's made them follow others.
Dreana Buffalo is from Musquecheese. She says she's empowered by Pohona's story.
A lot of kids do go through those kind of things, and for him to come out of that and to be where he is now, that's really successful, and I really acknowledge him for that.
Tyrese Thundervoice is from Loon Lake, Saskatchewan. He used to be a runner, but gave it up because it was too hard. After hearing Pohona's message, he says he wants to pick it back up again.
But the way he explains it as not being exercise, but being who we are and how we live it, it actually just made me want to run again, and for a different reason, a different mindset.
Pohana wants Indigenous youth to feel proud of what they've overcome.
I try to let people know there's always hope. You know, whatever you're going through in your life, you know, you're going to make it. Regardless, you are going to make it. So.
Buffalo says events like this are worth it.
Seeing the children have fun and being happy, that's all you want to see in your community.
Willow Fiddler, APTN National News, Samson Cree Nation.
And support for Indigenous youth can come from many places. In this case, fusing hip-hop with powwow. Willow Fiddler is still at the Indigenous Youth Conference.
Superman is a powwow dancer / rapper with a message. He says Indigenous youth can overpower their troubles through spirituality and prayer. He shared his message at this week's Win Games Youth Conference on the Samson Cree Nation.
As Indigenous people, you know, that's our foundation of who we are and our communication, you know, with the Creator. And so I think that's like key to share with the young people.
A fancy dancer from the Crow tribe, he fused the traditional dance with hip-hop by accident. When his powwow dance group was performing at a youth event, they were asked to perform their rap music also.
So we danced, and then we went to go change after we danced to come rap, you know, for the kids. But they said, there's not another speaker, there's no time. We need you to go on right now, you know, in your outfit. And so we rapped in our outfits, you know, just kind of like, because there was no time to change, and we fused the cultures together, you know, in that time.
Yo, it's like that, peace to my daughter and wife. Hey, yo, peace to this lady, you know water is life.
When his group expressed themselves in a positive, sober way, an elder gave them his blessing.
He took his hat off and he extended his hand. He said, you know what, that was pretty powerful what you did. He said, you put the cultures together, you got up there and showed those youth that you were proud of who you are as an Indigenous person.
Superman says there's an important connection between hip-hop and Indigenous culture.
The voices are the same, you know, the voice of oppression, the way the foundation of hip-hop kind of came about was that expression. And so natives, Indigenous people are kind of drawn toward that.
Minte Flores is a runner from Mexico. She relates to Superman's message.
Because if you have problems in home or your family, your father or your mother are addicts or, he said, alcoholics, it doesn't matter. You can choose what you want because you have to know who you are.
In a song by youth participants, Flores was asked to say something her mother or grandmother always says.
So my mother always say me, cuídate y pórtate bien a donde sea que vayas. And so in English is take care of you wherever you go.
Just keep hope alive, just as long as you can. It's on its way today, that's a part of the plan.
And taking care is what Superman hopes for Indigenous youth.
Our youth are, they're losing their lives, they're committing suicide, they're on drugs, they're on alcohol. Anything you do to reach them in a good way with a good heart is worthy.
Willow Fiddler, APTN National News, Samson Cree Nation.
With people from all over the world living in some makeshift teepee villages, there's bound to be some interesting cultural exchanges. Tom Fenario caught some, and we bring you this.
That's the unmistakable sound of the Canada goose.
Your livelihood depends on it. You've got to master a natural environment if you're going to want to beat the animals in their own environment.
Sinclair learned how to do the goose call from his father. He does a pretty good mallard duck, too.
This is a moose. This is a bull. He's looking for love.
After a long day of sports and cultural activities, Indigenous people from all over the world gather here. Every evening, this teepee village in Enoch Cree Nation is the site of impromptu soccer matches. And on this evening in particular, animal calls.
West, 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 west.
This night also featured Dene drumming and singing.
It's a celebration song that we sing for the people to come together and to have a good time, so that we bring the ancestors from the past to come and join us and dance with us.
Ancestors weren't the only ones dancing. People from all over the world were soon learning the Dene courtship dance.
That's a dance that people really like, so it brings the couples out to dance together back and forth, and I think it brings a lot of energy to the people.
Alexandra Grigorieva is a Yurta from the Siberian Arctic. She says she's having a great time and offered a greeting in her mother tongue of Sahara. Sinclair also offered thanks to the people of Enoch Cree Nation in Cree. The World Indigenous Games may emphasize sports, but many of the memories that people will take home with them will come from organic cultural sharing on evenings like this. Tom Fenario, APTN National News, Enoch Cree Nation, Alberta.
Well, it's time for a break. When we come back, we still have much more from the Wind Games here on Treaty 6 territory on the Enoch First Nation. Soccer action continues today in Wetaskiwin, and the Nakota men's team from Saskatchewan is showing they are the team to beat. Chris Stewart has that story.
On the soccer field, Team Canada's women's continued their dominance with a convincing 15-0 win over Panama. The team is quickly getting into championship form, says striker Victoria Marchand.
The last game, it took us a bit. It took us about 5-10 minutes to kind of get into the groove of things. There were a lot of scoring opportunities when we were in our first game, but I think what was different now is that we got fresh legs. We are used to playing together now, so we went out and scored like 3 goals in the first 15 minutes, which was awesome because we definitely need that. I find the first 5 minutes of any game is really important, so I think that's like the difference between game 1 and 2.
The men's Panama team played the Nakota Sioux from Saskatchewan. The Nakota Sioux were the stronger team, winning 3-0. Goalie Brendan Lightfoot stopped shot after shot in the shutout.
No, it was a good experience, fast game. I loved the thrill of just rush, the saves, the game. Team pulled out nice, safe. I like the other team gave us a good opportunity, a good try. Showed us their skill. They kept up with us. They didn't quit. That's a good thing. Showed real good competitive soccer.
Their style is really different between our style. You know, we played that other team yesterday that came from Europe, and they were really awesome. It was really different style, you know. Yeah, and we just came out here to have fun. The experience was great.
Panama says they need to work more as a unit.
Bueno, el partido estuvo bueno.
The team played well and we played well, but today was the first time that we've ever played together as a team. It's that we've come together from different Indigenous nations from the country, and we've never had the chance to practice together yet.
Well, this was very hard for Hope is because this is our first time to play in football with that like a team. Many of my friends, I don't know how to good play. No, they play, but it's not like a professional. But that's why it was hard. But we do the best. We do the best.
Elve says it's more important to make friends than watching the scoreboard.
We are very happy because we are playing with our friends, our native of the Canadian people, and that's why we are in this game, Indigenous game, Nation game.
Chris Stewart, APTN National News, Wetaskiwin, Alberta.
A husband and wife team from Muskeg Lake, Alberta are officiating soccer matches here. Chris Stewart talks to them.
He never expected to be refereeing today, but Corey Arcan and his wife got the call to help out, and they didn't think twice. Now they are refereeing the World Indigenous Games.
Oh, this is amazing. Like, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for a lot of people, and I'm proud to be here. I'm proud that all these First Nations from all over the world are here sharing their talents in sport, bringing us together in a new way, making friends all over. Yeah! Subs in!
Corey has been reffing a long time. He knows good soccer. These games have plenty of it.
In all the years I've been reffing, some of these games have been the best quality soccer that I've had the opportunity to ref. It's great watching these young people out here giving it their all for pride of their country, for pride of their land.
It's hard work when it's nearly 30 degrees outside. You need to be in shape to keep up with the players.
You do, and quite honestly, I'm not. I'm hurting right now, but just to see these guys play, it's worth the pain.
Shauna still can't believe she is helping with the games.
It's like, wow, I'm reffing the World Indigenous Games. I come to watch. We grew up in a soccer family. Where we come from in Saskatchewan, it's nothing but soccer over there. You can find diamonds in the rough there. It's great.
Shauna also happened to pick up second place in the bow and arrow on a lark.
Yeah, the first day of competition, we went to go and watch bow and arrow and spear throwing, and they were like, all the other Team Sask were saying, let's just enter, let's enter. So I said, okay, you know, even the other countries were let's enter, ladies. Okay, so there's about 40 of us, I believe. And yeah, so I made it to the final round. I shot 5. And then all the finalists, there was 5 of us, and I got beat by 1 point.
Not bad for someone just planning to watch. Chris Stewart, APTN National News, Wetaskiwin, Alberta.
Whirring down a snowy slope and launching yourself off a ramp takes a special kind of person. And I met one just like that from the Fort William First Nation. I am here with Steve Collins. He is a 3-time Olympian from Fort William. He competed in ski jumping. So that brings me to my first question. At what point did you realize you were crazy enough to do something like that?
Well, my parents built the home below our ski area, and we used to have a ski area on the reserve. It was just starting out young, 4 years old, and it progressed to making jumps and flying off jump hills, because we made a 50 meter there, and it was just every day after school.
On the reserve?
Yeah.
This is what you guys did for
and
entertainment?
I didn't have a real coach at the well, I had a tentative coach at the beginning, and then I started jumping on my own after school. And the one coach that inspired me for jumping was Slav Kardas. He was a Polish fellow.
And how does he find you, though? You're this little guy from Fort William. How does this Polish ski jumping coach track you down?
Yeah, well, we started making jumps off the jumps there, and we built them up so we could get more air.
And this is at the Thunder Bay?
Yes, at Mount McKay ski area.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then it just progresses from there?
Yes, and then he got us some equipment, and we started jumping with him.
What was your first Olympics?
1980.
And then?
Lake Placid, 84, Sarajevo, and Calgary.
And what's the best you finished? What's the best place?
9th.
Nice.
Yes.
In Calgary?
In Lake Placid.
And
Calgary, I was 13th.
And other family members make it to the Olympics too?
No.
But they all are still great ski jumpers?
They
in
were,
their own
well,
way?
my whole family were skiers, and they all were really good skiers, but I just progressed to be a flying athlete, I guess.
I love it. What did sport bring to your life? You know, life on the reserve, how do you think it impacted your life? What would have been different if you didn't have sports?
Oh, I wouldn't have never been on a world scene competing internationally and winning tournaments and doing all that fun stuff like traveling and stuff. We never ever spent any time at home. We were always traveling, training. But I think my dad inspired me the most because he really wanted me to compete in ski jumping after Slav introduced us to it.
Yeah.
And then, but Slav, he taught me, well, he really was a coach that would tell you in every day that you were the best in the world. And that's what I kept in the back of my mind when I started skiing. I think that's why I loved it so much. I love flying.
That's a pretty impactful thing, too, to hear as a child. If you're the best in the world, I mean, certainly it would keep you interested. Thank you for taking the time to come and stop and talk with us about that.
Yes.
A lot. We have to go to one more break, but when we come back, a story about the Enoch Cree people and why they were known as the people of medicine. Welcome back. Here's a quick look at some of the results we've got so far. when there's something you need done on the Enoch Cree Nation, there's one man you go to. Tamara Pimentel spent some time with him.
While athletes from around the world enjoy their time at the World Indigenous Games, Bingo Morin spends his day driving around Enoch Cree Nation from site to site, hauling equipment and making sure things are running smoothly. It isn't often the First Nation is this busy.
The traditional games that came, this one here, is the first of an event that we've had here for many, many years, since the mid-60s.
The games were originally to be held in Edmonton, but in early July it was announced that they would only take place on Treaty 6 reserves. Bingo had to quickly plan where the games would happen on Enoch.
First thing that came to my mind was right here, Enoch Park.
For the nation, Enoch Park is sacred. It's rich in berries, medicines, and wildlife.
It's always been untouched for the reason of all of our medicines and everything else that is here. It's pretty traditional.
But these sandy dunes surrounded by lush green forests make it a perfect arena for archery, spear throwing, and tug of strength. Now, bringing people here from all over the world.
I really like here because where we live is in the mountains, but there is more nature, more trees, and water.
Culture. Even the country is green, and she's have people that.
Bingo says some of the athletes have even been using the land and teepees for their own ceremonies.
Really comforting knowing our visitors, our guests are feeling right at home as soon as they get here.
It's been hours of hard work keeping these games going, but for Bingo, bringing different cultures together has been well worth it. Tamara Pimentel, APTN National News, Enoch Cree Nation.
Well, that's our show for today. Thanks for joining us. Be sure to come back tomorrow after APTN National News. We'll have some rodeo action for you. And as well, we'll introduce you to some Mexican runners. You won't want to miss them. Have a great evening. I'm Melissa Ridgen.